welcome back to my channel. Today I have a haul from Beebeecraft. I had purchased some beads. I was looking, I think in my last video I had explained how I kind of needed to fill in the gaps of some of my bead collection. I was looking for some little charms and things like that. And I went to Beebeecraft for that. And I always end up finding what I need there because they have a huge selection of things. But it takes a while to go through the whole website because they really do have a lot. And you'll also see that they give a lot too. So when you get a bag, if you just need a few charms, you actually get a huge giant bag of them. So the bags are pretty big, so they last a while. I think I've only shopped there once because I never really, I get some of my beads on Etsy too. But then some of the smaller stuff and findings and things like that, I'll either go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but then Beebeecraft is always another place I go to. But like I said, you get bulk items, so it lasts you a while. So what I was looking for were some small charms, and then just kind of maybe a couple other types of bead packs. Like I got another set of bubblegum beads. But what I wanted to kind of show, as I'm showing the beads, I wanted to show you the types of findings that I use with the beads that I got. I know when I first kind of got into bead making or making charms, I had to kind of watch a bunch of YouTube videos because I wasn't sure, how do you attach a charm to a chain? What's the best thing to use if the hole in your bead is really big? How do you do all that? And so after a lot of kind of research and watching a lot of videos, I feel like I kind of figured everything out. It's been a couple of years. So I kind of figured it all out and figured out what the best tools are and things like that. So I'll kind of do a little demo today as I'm showing you the beads. So if you're, getting started in beading and kind of are kind of looking for some hints and tips on how to attach findings to your beads and things like that, I can show you that today. Also, when I make charms, it's fun, you see all the pretty colors and everything. And I know when I first started out, I wanted all bubblegum beads. I thought they were just the best. And these are ones that I just got from Beebeecraft. And I actually have a pack of these already, but I love the colors in these so much that I will use them a lot. And their bubblegum beads you get a good amount, but it's not a huge amount that's going to last you a lifetime. So I've actually used quite a bit for my previous pack, but I like the mint green beads and the purple and the white in here. They're just kind of a nice basic pack. Oh, and I also like these textured beads too. They kind of look like little berries. I think those are really pretty. But anyway, when I first started out, I wanted all the bubblegum beads. I just loved all the different colors. And so I got a bunch of them. But then I realized when I went to start making charms that, you can really only make, if you want to use all bubblegum beads, you can make, kind of just a one strand bead. I'm sure there's other ways you can do it, just using all one type of bead. But I found as I kind of made charms a little bit more, that it's good to have different sizes, different textures, have your beads hang differently. Some are closer to the chain, some are further from the chain. I prefer to make chain charms because I just like the way the beads kind of jingle around. I like to use, I'll either grab a roll of chain. I think I actually got this from Beebeecraft a long time ago. There's a ton on it. This will last you forever because you really only need a little bit, depending on how long your charm is. But I'll either get, a silver chain like this. This chain I think I got from Michael's gold chain. The loops are bigger on this, so sometimes this is easier to work with too if you have bigger loops. But just getting a roll of chain and using that and attaching charms is a really easy way to make charms. That's how I like to do it too. But there's different ways to do it. You can do the keychain charms where it's kind of on a string and it's all one strand. But I just prefer kind of the bulky look of the chunky charms, I guess you call them. So when you make a chunky charm, you kind of want to have different sizes, different lengths, different colors, but you want everything to kind of be cohesive and work together. And kind of how you make a card or put any type of collage together, you want to use design principles, make the charm pleasing to the eye, not just like a pile of beads all kind of laying there. You want to kind of have everything go together. So that's where the different sizes and shapes and textures come in. So what I was looking for were some like teeny tiny little just plain metal charms to kind of add to my charms that I make, because I found that it's nice to kind of tuck those in amongst the bigger beads. So these are just a basic bubblegum beads, and I actually have my invoice here. I can tell you the names of everything. I can put links down below too. These were just called chunky beads, 20 millimeter. That's another thing too. When you go online, it's hard to know when you're first starting out with beading. It's hard to know the sizes. So I remember, I have an idea of measurements and things like that, but sometimes it doesn't always. I don't always see it when it comes to beads, and I'm thinking, oh, these are going to be bigger than they were. And there were some beads I got that are really tiny, or some that are really huge. So it's also nice to see a lot. I think the website has pictures of like somebody's hand, and you can kind of see the size, but just be mindful of that, the sizes that you're looking for. So these are 20 millimeter, and these are kind of like a basic bubblegum bead size. So I really like these. So these are the kind of beads you would use for, you can use them for a lot of different charms. I would use them for a lot of different charms. You can also, use them for the keychain charms that you can see a lot on YouTube videos where people thread the cord through the beads, and then you can put a charm on top, and it just kind of hangs in one long line, and you can attach it to a keychain. It looks really pretty. What I usually do with beads like this is kind of, if I'm going to attach it to a chain, I would use these. This is kind of like my findings area here. So my favorite thing to do is, first of all, since the bubblegum beads have a larger hole in them, I first want to take something to kind of cover the hole a little bit. Now, this is my way of doing it. I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to do it too. So feel free to leave me a comment if you have any other suggestions or any other ways to do things. This is kind of like my trial and error, but this is what has worked for me. So I would use something either like a bead cap to kind of cover the hole a little bit. So I actually don't have any bead caps. Like, bead caps are usually flat, but I do like these smaller metal beads, and these are kind of flat. And these are good for kind of covering up a hole a little bit so that you've got a little bit of a narrower area, because then you want to make a wire loop in order to attach it to a jump ring and then attach it to your chain, if that makes sense. So let me show you really quick how I would do this. So I've got my big bead. I've got my little cap here. You can get the bead caps that kind of cover, they're like sort of arced around. They kind of hug the bead a little bit better. This kind of sits on top a little bit more, but I think this looks fine. Another thing I like to use too are seed beads. You could take a little seed bead and kind of plug the hole a little bit, and it still has a hole in it, but it makes the hole a little bit narrower. So I'll do that sometimes too. And then since I like to, so I'm going to make a loop with my tools so that I can attach it to a chain here, or a smaller chain, if I want to make a smaller charm to attach to the chain. I mean, there's different ways you can do it. So since I'm going to use my one-step looper, that's this. I actually have two of them. So they come in different sizes. So depending on the size loop you want is the size you get. I have a 1.5 millimeter loop. This makes smaller loops. It's just kind of preference. Depending on what my charm looks like, I'll kind of say, okay, I want a bigger loop because I want this to hang differently. Then I would use the 2.25 millimeter loop. So it just kind of depends. I'll show you on the bigger one, just so that it kind of makes a little more, so you can kind of see it a little bit better on camera. When I say loop, let me show you this first. So you want to make a loop to attach to your jump ring. So what you would do is, actually, I'm going to need two of these. So you have this head pin, and I like to use these really long ones because you can stick them through the looper pretty easily. The head pins come either kind of a solid ball, or they can come rounded, which I like these because this end can be used to either hook on another charm or just kind of hang down. I like the solid little ball if I'm not going to hang, if I'm just going to have it kind of as a decorative look on the end of a bead. So I'll probably just use this one. You can get ones that have little jewels too. I think I have one somewhere in here. I may have used them all up because I really like them. Oh, here's one. This one has kind of a little diamond type jewel on the top of it. And that's really nice to kind of decorate. Actually, I'll use, well, I'm not gonna, I might save this for another time, but I'll show you with this, this one here. So what you would do is you take your bubblegum bead, and I wanna kind of block off the holes. So first I'm gonna thread my head pin through this silver bead, thread it through here like that. So you get, that's really pretty there. And then I'm gonna do another bead here. And then I'm going to run it through my looper. So this actually looks kind of short, so I don't know if it's going to fit all the way through, but let me make sure I have this in the picture here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to slide this pin through where this little bar is, right underneath, and then kind of pop it in the hole of the little looper. And it just fits, so it's perfect. I would probably, if you want, let me show you this. This is kind of a big bead, so I might replace this with a little seed bead. Again, that's, I probably should get some flat kind of hugging bead caps, but I actually don't have any, so it would be something I should probably pick up. But I'm going to use a seed bead, and this will work the same way. So I'm going to thread this seed bead through the top here. So you can see how it kind of covers up the hole a little bit and gives you a little more, because otherwise if you don't cover the large hole in the bead, this wire loop is going to slide through it. So you want to make sure it's secure. Okay, so now I'm going to take the little pin and put it kind of right underneath this bar here, and then slide it through till it goes through the hole on the other end of the looper. Okay, and then you want to kind of keep everything flush to the bead. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. And you kind of push everything down, and then you want to grip the looper and then kind of turn it a little bit and let go, and it makes a little loop. Now, you can see the loop is a little bit bent. So this is where you will take your pliers. And these are, let me show you these pliers. I actually have two pairs. These are my absolute favorite pliers. I forget how I heard about these. I just got them on Amazon. They're Xuron brand, and they're very thin and flat, and they're perfect for this kind of beadwork. So what you want to do is kind of, you'll see that the hook is kind of open a little bit, so you can kind of take your pliers and kind of close the loop just a little bit. You don't want to flatten it too much. And then you can kind of turn the loop a little bit so it's straight up. It takes a little practice. I still have to practice a little bit. Sometimes it takes me a couple times to get this going, but there we go. All right, so I straightened that, and then I'm going to clamp the loop again. And again, it's not going to be perfect. We're not machines, so we can't make everything look perfect. This is a handmade product, so it's always going to have a little bit of something, but that's what makes it handmade. So I have a little bit of room here, so the bead kind of hangs a little bit like that, but it doesn't really matter when it's on the chain because it'll kind of jingle really nicely. But so I'm hoping you can kind of see the bead there, or the loop, how I made it. So there's the loop. If you want to be old school and make your own loops, I watched a video a long time ago on how to do it before I got the looper, but you can use these kind of pliers. They're rounded. They're kind of like tubular, and you would just buy jewelry wire, and I'll use this as an example. You can kind of twist your own loop and do it the same way. So if you don't want to use tools like that, you can go ahead and do it kind of the old way. And like I said, there's a lot of videos out there. You can just type in, you know, how to make your own jewelry loops, and it'll pop up. But once I found the loopers, I was like, I'm just going to do that. It makes it go faster. And their website, the company that makes the one-step looper, they have a really nice demonstration on how to do this too. So if mine wasn't mine wasn't the best. So I could put a link to the website too. You can take a look, but these are great tools. So you can see with this bead, you can do a lot with this. So then if you have your chain, you can then kind of pick the jump ring you want. So a jump ring would be these little round rings here. I have a lot of different kinds. I have colored ones. If you want to attach a lobster clasp, you'd need a jump ring to do that. Actually, you wouldn't. I mean, if you wanted to, you could unhook this and add it to the lobster clasp. But I like a jump ring, gives a little more stability too. So say you want to add a lobster clasp to this, then you get your jump ring. Depending on, you know, you can kind of use your own judgment on how big you want your jump ring. I have really small ones, but these are kind of bigger ones. And let me just show you how I use these pliers to open them. So I have the flat pliers. I have 2 pair because this makes it really easy to open jump rings. So I grasp one in one hand, one in the other. And then when you open a jump ring, you don't want to pull it open. I learned this from my research. You want to kind of twist it open. So you go one going forward, one going backward like that, and just twist it open just enough so you can loop it over your bead. So you got that like that. And then you just loop it onto your little hook that you made. Okay, so you got that there. And then if you want to attach it to a lobster clasp, you just stick it on like that on the lobster clasp. So you got that going on. And then to put it back together, you just want to pinch it back together the same way you pulled it apart, only go the opposite direction. And that way everything stays rounded. The jump ring stays rounded and doesn't get all kind of twisted and weird. And it kind of stays together then too. So let me try to get this while I'm trying to be on camera. Here we go. All right. So there. And then you can kind of tap it together with your pliers too. I like how delicate these pliers are. They're very thin and easy to use. So this is kind of a big jump ring for this, but this isn't bad. So if you want a real tiny charm, you can just have something like that. So that's how I would do any type of kind of bubblegum bead. Any of the other beads that I'll show you in a second is kind of what I'll do. So let me move on with the rest of what I picked up. So I wanted some silver charms, and then I wanted some enamel charms. I really like the look of enamel charms. I had picked up some from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. I think in their, I forget what that's called, the paper studio flea market section or something. There was some really cute daisy enamel charms. Well, Beebeecraft had like a ton of them. So I got these. I would prefer silver, but they only had gold. And these are called Honey Handy Alloy Enamel Pendants. So these are nice. And I really like these a lot. And the gold, now everybody's mixing metals, and I think it looks really good to put gold and silver together. So I think that's fine. But these are really cute. I like a real basic daisy look, nothing kind of swirly or anything. And these are perfect. And you get a huge bag of them. So I think these will last me a while. But these are great. You can, to kind of add a step onto this charm, you could take a small jump ring, like a tiny one here. Actually, sometimes they're a little too small. This is sort of a good size. You could take this jump ring here and take my tiny pliers again. And just kind of take this apart like that, just squeeze it apart. you could loop this around the daisy. And then kind of add this to this charm. So these little charms are great to kind of, I guess you would say, like, kind of thicken up your charms, sort of like plump them up a little bit. So you've got a lot of, make it more three-dimensional. I guess that's what you would call it. I'm sure there's a better word, but I think that's kind of what I'm looking for when I add all these little charms. Sometimes these are, you got to open it a little bit wider. So I got that on there, and then I'm just going to close this back up again. So you can see how you can kind of build up your charms by adding little ones. Okay. That looks so cute. So that's adorable. So you could add this onto, like, if this lobster clasp wasn't here and you just kept the jump ring here, this tiny charm could be added to your bigger group, your bigger charm. Like, say you made a charm just on your chain and you were starting to, you know, add different pieces to it. This could be a little charm, like a little charm within a charm that you could add onto your chain. So that's really cute. I got a couple other enamel styles. So I got the daisies. And then I picked up, oh, these butterflies are so pretty. I got these butterflies. And I just love the colors on these. I'm thinking of using these colors as inspiration to kind of start from and then pull bead colors from there. So using this butterfly with the purple and the teal and the mint and the yellow, pulling, you know, different colored bubblegum beads and kind of building around this butterfly, I think would be really nice. And there's different colors in here. I really like the kind of corally pink color. And there's blue. These are just really pretty. So I like the enamel because it adds kind of a different texture. You have a lot of plastic beads or wooden beads. You want different textures. So you want enamel, you want metal. Things with little, like the berry beads, like stuff with like little dotted texture on it is always nice too. So you're kind of mixing it up a little bit and making the charm interesting. So that's what I really like about the enamel charms. And then I think I got these bird charms. These are so pretty. These are called sparrow charms, just sparrow charms. And I forget what I was typing in. I think I was I typed in enamel charms, and then it brought up all these different types of charms. And I think you can do, you know, do it by color and that kind of thing too. So I found these bird charms I thought were really pretty too for kind of a springtime look. They have kind of pink and teal, and they have little gold outlines on the wings, which are so pretty. And I like these because they're more three-dimensional. They're not flat, but they're real tiny, so you can kind of tuck them in along your charm. And it's just kind of interesting. Somebody that's looking at the charm can kind of run their hands across it and kind of see all the different little textures and pieces. And it's just something interesting to look at. So, whoops. So that's the sparrow charms. And then I think I got one more set of enamel charms. Let me see here. Maybe not. Oh, yes. These bows, I thought. In fact, I think the bows came up first, and then I got the idea that I wanted to find some more enamel charms. So these bows are really cute too. Again, gold background, but really pretty pastel colors. And these just came a few in a pack. So, you know, these are nice. I probably should have gotten 2 packs of these, but I can't figure out why sometimes you get like they only offer like a huge pack of one thing and then a small pack of, I think because enamel, these are more expensive. So you only get a smaller amount, but those are really pretty. So I'll probably at some point pick up some more of those. And then let's see, moving on to the metal charms. So again, the plain silver charms was what I was looking for too. I got this huge bag of, I was looking for some flower charms. So if I made a springtime themed charm, I wanted to kind of have some little flower shapes tucked in, and I thought the silver would be really pretty. So I got these. I'll just kind of show you them. They're actually heavy, but I thought these were so pretty. They're kind of like a 60s daisy. And I think those will be nice to, yeah, and you get a lot, but I feel like I can use these on a lot of charms. So I'll kind of tuck them throughout the charms. Again, just a jump ring, and then you can attach it to the charm itself, or like a charm within a charm. Just be a nice little decorative element. So I also wanted to get some hearts because I had made some heart charms and I didn't have any metal heart charms. I had one, I think a couple that were from Maggie Holmes' scrapbook pack a long time ago, but I wanted just some kind of plain, or some plain heart charms, but I ended up finding these open heart ones, which again, I only ordered one, but they come in, you get like a ton of them. So you get like 4 packs, but I just ordered one. But these are great. And I like these because they're very delicate. So they're not solid. Again, you can tuck them into the charm, all around the charm. They're all the same size and shape. Yeah, there's no, actually, I'm trying to think. Are these all, yeah, these are all the same size. I thought maybe they were various sizes. So it'd be nice if to have some that were like smaller and some that were bigger. I don't think any of these are like that. I think they're all the same size. But that's okay. I mean, again, these are, you can use multiples on a charm like this because these are just really pretty and plain. But so they just give a little bit of shimmer to your charm. And everybody likes hearts, I think. So put these off to the side. And then I did get another set of heart charms that are silver. I got some solid ones. These are very heavy too. These are cute. So I could combine these. That would be really pretty. Put a jump ring on this one and then add the little heart to this. Hook it on there and then add the whole thing to a bigger bead set. And then again, you're kind of bulking up the charm and just like adding more texture and more layers to it. And this would be really pretty. So the open heart with a solid heart, I think is going to be a good combination. And then let's see. Oh, and then the last of the metal things I got, these are, I'm wondering if these are bead caps. I don't think they are. I think these are little flowers. Oh, yeah, these are, actually, these could be used, so these could be a charm itself. They're so tiny. These you could just loop the wire to make a loop right through it and it will hold up. So I would use one of these with the loop on one end. So that holds in there really well, like that. I hope you can see that. That doesn't pop through. So you could have this little charm and then use the tool to loop another wire over here and then just have a teeny tiny charm like that to hook on like this, which that would, how cute would that be? So you've got like a big charm and a tiny charm, all kinds of little layers on here. So that would be really nice. Another thing you could use this tiny bead for would be the little bead cap idea. So you could have this, let me find a bead here. So you could have a bubblegum bead and then take your long wire, thread this through, and then since you need to kind of cover up the bubblegum bead hole a little bit more, use this as a hole to cover it up. Then you have the the little flower kind of sticking up like this. So it's vertical, and I think that looks really nice too. And then, you know, you could do another one on the bottom or do a different bead cap on the bottom, loop the wire, and then you've got another look for your charm. So I love these. These are really cute. So, and I like the shape of the flowers too. They're just kind of basic and delicate. So I think they won't take away, they won't draw too much, they don't draw too much attention to themselves. So you can have kind of the bold colors on your charms, but just have a little bit of the silver kind of peeking out. Okay, so the rest of the beads I got were just the plastic beads. These are some hearts. I was just looking for some kind of more heart beads. These are a pretty shimmery, kind of a shimmery look, and these are plastic. The hole in these are not so big, so I think you could just do a regular wire loop through it and you'd be fine. But again, different ways you can turn it into its own little charm and hook it onto a bigger charm. You know, I just like the pastel colors. I thought those were really pretty. And then I got some, I was looking for some more, I love purple beads and purple scrapbook supplies and purple anything. So I was looking for kind of a purple looking bead. I probably should have typed in periwinkle though, because I ended up getting more of a lavender when I typed in purple, but these are actually really pretty. I really like this. I think this will be nice for a springtime charm, but I like how they have a little marbling on them. I think those would be really pretty. That would actually look really nice on this charm with the gold and the daisy. So all of this is really pretty. So I got just a few of these. And then I was looking for more flowers. And so I picked up these smaller. I got a lot of smaller beads because I realized in my collection I have a lot of more medium size and larger beads. So I thought these were really pretty. They're kind of a frosted flower bead with like another little bead in the middle. And the hole is pretty big. So although I don't know, you can kind of test it out and see if you make a bigger loop, I think you might be fine. So again, you could use this on the top of a bubblegum bead, you know, as a kind of like a capper. It would make the bead kind of long, but I think it would look good, you know, so you can kind of be creative and test things out. The great thing about making charms is if you mess up, you don't really have to throw everything away. You can just kind of unhook a jump ring and you're out a jump ring maybe, or you can even reuse it. But and then you can just re-loop the charm. There's not a lot, unless you're using string or something like that. There's not really, it's fairly easy to undo and redo again. I got more bows. I like the look of bows. So I found these plastic ones. I just thought the colors were really pretty. Pink, yellow, green, purple. That's a really pretty purple. I thought these would go nice on kind of like a brighter colored charm. And the hole in these are kind of at the top here. And it's not very big, so I'd probably just loop something through there. But this would be pretty kind of sitting on top of a bead. You could do that. You know, so I don't know. I just think there's a lot you can do with these. They're just called flower mixed. But I love the look of these. They're almost, they're like a shimmery iridescent and very clear pastel colors. I love this pink. That's really pretty. And the yellow. And it's a rose shape. And let me see where the hole is. I think that one is closed up. So sometimes that happens. You'll get a bead that's like closed up or something. But maybe I just can't see the hole. Here's the hole on this one. So see, that like slides right through. So you're going to want to have a bead cap on top of it so the pin doesn't go through. But again, that would be really pretty on top of a bead or on its own with like other little charms attached to it. So just a pretty shimmery look too. That's another thing, like glitter, shimmer, the metals, you know, you have that kind of, the different shines to the beads are really pretty too, to kind of mix that up on charms. So I am good with my beads for a while. I have to go organize these. I ended up I bought another tip out bin. I think I showed my last video. I'll link it below because my last video shows how I store all my beads and I give a little background on kind of what I keep on hand. But I ended up ordering another one of my tip out bins. I really like those, and they were back in stock at Amazon. So I'm going to have more room for kind of the bigger beads in those. And then some of the beads I got here too, I think will be good. So I'm gonna do some rearranging, and I'll show kind of how I did that rearranging. I'm getting one other kind of organizational shelf thing, and in the craft room, which will be this coming month, in February, I will give you a view of that once I get everything put together. So that'll be kind of something to stay tuned for. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I try to do a video once a week. I try to do an in the craft room, which is kind of like a craft vlog, what I'm working on. I'm usually working on multiple things at one time. So I'll have card making going on one desk. I'll have a journal started on another desk. And then I'll have some organizing going on. And so I kind of go through that in the video and just kind of show you what's happening in the craft room. I do hauls for vintage supplies because I use a lot of vintage things for my journals that I make. I do flip throughs of my journals. I've recently gotten into collage, so I like to do that too. I like to I think that's a great way to kind of be free flowing and get your kind of creativity going if maybe you don't feel like actually making something. So I've been really into that. And then charms and beads. I do have a couple in my shop right now, and I'm going to be making some more. And I also do some card making on the channel too. I was doing tutorials. Now I do more kind of like show and tell of my projects. I'm working my way through some stamp sets that I haven't seen ink yet. So that's something I'm going to be working on too. So I show a lot of those on Instagram too. So you can follow me over there and you can see a lot of my card projects there. So I think I've covered it all. Oh, and I also have a newsletter too. So I kind of give updates once a month on the newsletter. I have some things on there that you don't always see in my videos. So there's a link to where you can sign up to read that once a month. I also provide a free card sketch too to kind of get your creativity going. So you can look forward to that if you sign up for the newsletter. So let me know if you have any questions, any comments about beading, again, any suggestions for other people. I like to see conversations going, you know, if people have suggestions, you know, I have these beads, I don't know what to do with them. If somebody else wants to make a comment about that too, that's always very helpful. So I appreciate that. That's what the crafting community is for. And I really appreciate all of you. So thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you in my next video.